This video is sponsored by PCBWay. Welcome everyone. In this video, I show you another application of my CH32V003J4M6 based miniature board. Previously, I showed the board together with some timer-based control of the WS2812B RGB LEDs. Now, I connect a BME280 combined humidity, pressure and temperature sensor and a 0.42-inch OLED display to the microcontroller board. It is a good exercise to show the I2C communication between multiple I2C devices and the microcontroller. The final result is a tiny weather station with the universal USB-C connector. The microcontroller board does not need a very long introduction. It is based on the CH32V003J4M6 chip, and it is designed to be very small. It perfectly sits in the center of a breadboard, and it only takes up 2 rows. The USB-C connector is only used for providing power for the circuit and the peripherals connected to it. To program the microcontroller, one must use a WCH Link-E programmer. The board was designed to be used as a standalone microcontroller board. I designed it with a power-only USB-C connector. For the sake of miniaturization, I did not add the USART to USB chip, which would have made it easy to connect the chip to a computer via a USB port. However, it is possible to bit-bang a USB protocol for the chip, but I don't have those skills. If you are interested in my little CH32 board, visit my PCBWay project page and buy it. Either you buy the bare board or get it assembled, you won't be disappointed because PCBWay can help you with any kind of PCB-related services. I also designed a simple 3D printable enclosure for the device, so if you need, you can also use their 3D printing services and get the whole device manufactured and assembled by them. Make sure you visit their website for ongoing campaigns and discounts because they are always working on something to give back to their community. The peripherals, the BME280 and the 0.42-inch OLED display are powered by 5 volts and they are connected to the same I2C bus. Since the device is a 5 volt only device, it is very important to pick a BME280 module that can operate at 5 volts. The display is, however, not that picky about the voltage. It can be driven by 5 volt and it can be used with 5 volt signals without issues. My only problem is that the pin layout of the display and the sensor is slightly different. The SDA and SCR pins sit at the same place physically, but the GND and VCC pins are the opposite. So when I put the circuit together, I had to do a little extra work to connect the power rails between the display and the sensor. Once the circuit was complete, I printed a small 2-piece enclosure for it. It is a very simple little plastic box that has a little hole at the end to allow airflow towards the sensor, and it has a large cutout at its side so we can see the OLED display. The enclosure is closed by a cap that allows us to plug a USB-C cable into the board. Due to the tight dimensions of the board and the enclosure, I did not bother adding any screws. The cap is simply glued to the enclosure. Since it is not exposed to any loads or mechanical stresses, a few drops of super glue does the job well. Of course, before soldering everything together into a relatively small setup, I assembled everything on a breadboard. This allowed me to develop and polish the firmware properly. This sensor is a MEMS-based temperature, humidity and pressure sensor. Using the pressure data, we can even determine the altitude. It can be used both as an SPI or as an I2C device. In this demonstration, I go with I2C. The operating voltage of the sensor itself is up to 3.6 volts, but I use the sensor embedded in a board that allows it to be used with 5 volt supply voltage and 5 volt signals. Furthermore, I picked a board that is exactly the same width, 4 pins wide, as the microcontroller board and as the 0.42-inch OLED board. So the whole setup I tacked together has a uniform width. In the following explanation, I will only focus on the communication with the BME280 sensor because the communication with the OLED display has already been explained in an earlier article. I just reused my library I developed earlier. To understand the communication, we have to read the datasheet of the sensor. The core of the output is the ADC output values. We need to read the ADC values for the temperature, pressure and humidity, and then we must use a set of calibration parameters to calculate the actual temperature, pressure and humidity values. The calibration parameters are also called trimming parameters, and they are programmed into the device's non-volatile memory during production. So apart from reading the ADC values, we also need to retrieve these trimming parameters from the BME280 chip. Once the set of ADC readings and trimming parameters are obtained, each parameter, temperature, pressure, and humidity, has its own compensation formula that allows us to convert the readings into readable parameters. These formulas can be found in the datasheet of the chip. Actually, they not only provide the formulas, but also the code for each formula as well. There is only a tiny tweaking needed to make it work with the microcontroller. The trimming parameters, the so-called T_fine fine resolution temperature value, and the address of the device can be stored together in a struct. All the trimming parameters are declared and defined according to table 16 in the datasheet. Then, the registers mentioned in chapter 5.4 in the datasheet are also incorporated into the code as definitions. It allows us to read the code a bit easier, as it was a document rather than a bunch of hex literals. The library contains a few functions that help us to communicate with the sensor. There are 3 helper functions, WR8, RD8, and RDN, that allows us to write a byte, read a byte, or read n bytes from the sensor. There are 2 additional helper functions to convert byte order. The U16LE converts 2 bytes in little endian order into an unsigned 16-bit integer, and the S16LE function does the same conversion, but it returns a signed 16-bit value. The calibration parameters are a mixture of signed and unsigned values. These helpers help to avoid issues caused by endianness or incorrect sign interpretation. Then, we arrive at a more exciting function which reads the trimming parameters from the sensor into the struct fields. Most of the readings and passing values are straightforward, but there are 2 exceptions that need a little attention. H4 and H5 are stored in a bit weird way because part of H4 as well as part of H5 are stored in register 0xe5. H4 is under 0xe5's low nibble part and H5 is under 0xe5's high nibble part. Therefore, a little bit shifting is applied when the values for these 2 parameters, H4 and H5, are retrieved. We also have an initialization function that brings the sensor to a known state, verifies its identity, and loads the calibration data. First, the code stores the address. Then, it reads the chip ID and compares it with the expected 0x60 value. Then, after a soft reset, the trimming parameters are read out and the default measurement configuration is applied. After the function has successfully run, the library has everything it needs to compute the compensated temperature, pressure, and humidity values. The above-mentioned measurement configuration consists of 6 parameters. It has its own function implemented. First, the oversampling parameter for the humidity is written. It is important to start with this write operation according to chapter 5.4.3 in the datasheet, which says changes to this register only becomes effective after a write operation to control_measure. What this means is that writing the control_hum alone does not immediately apply humidity oversampling. The oversampling gets ledged when we later write the control_measure. If we were to do control_measure first, the control_hum afterwards would not be applied, and it would only take effect when another control_measure write happens. So using this knowledge, we can sneak in a command in between to apply the settings for the standby and filter registers. As you notice in the code, there are some bit shifting here and there because certain parameters share the same register. For example, the control_measure register contains both the OSRS_T and OSRS_P values, plus it also contains the mode value. A better understanding can be achieved by studying table 18 in the datasheet. The configure function might look a bit intimidating, but it is quite simple and logical when it is broken up into smaller bits. To reiterate, 3 configuration registers, control_hum, config, and control_measure are involved here. They control the humidity oversampling, the standby and IIR filter, the temperature and pressure oversampling, and the mode bits. Each parameters that is used are constrained to legal bit widths. This is needed because the registers use small bit fields. The oversampling registers, the filter, and the standby registers are 3-bit fields, so their valid range is 0 to 7. The mode is a 2-bit field, so its valid range is 0 to 2. Masking avoids accidental corruption if invalid values are passed. Finally, we just need to type in the compensation formulas from chapter 4.2.3 in the datasheet and adjust them according to the coding environment. Then, in the main code, we initialize and configure the sensor, and then we continuously trigger a forced reading, retrieve and calculate the conversion values, and print them on the display. This simple device and code gives us a nice little weather station that we can use anywhere indoors. It is a great gadget to monitor your flower's environment or to make sure that the room is not too cold or humid. If you like these kind of videos, please consider becoming a channel member. Your support allows me to dedicate more resources to similar projects. Also, don't forget to visit my website. The link is in the description. I wrote a detailed article about this gadget, and you can find additional resources too. Plus, if you want the miniature microcontroller board, visit my PCBWay project site. I hope you liked this video and you learned something, and see you in the next video.